Hello everyone, it's me, and today are you ready to be a victor winner? Let's go! Scary. Horror.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello!
The show that was cursed by a cult to kill everyone's childhood, one theory at a time. Today though, we get to strike at one of fictional history's most prolific killers. No, not him again. He didn't even kill a bunch of hobbits.
Oh my god! Thanos, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars.
What?
Star Wars.
Yeah, I guess he did kill a bunch of people. Alright, so prolific might not be the right word. Today we're gonna take a stab at one of cinema's most famous killers, Michael Myers.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
Michael Myers, not Mike Myers. Michael's insane and inconsistent past has been covered in 10 Halloween movies. Technically, there are 11 movies in the Halloween franchise, but Halloween 3 had nothing to do with serial killers wearing William Shatner masks, so not really important for consideration today. And
so, the question should be, with multi-millions of dollars involved, what are the film producers doing? Filmmakers doing?
Yet, despite it being the second longest running horror franchise of all time at 40 years, no one in that huge stretch of time has figured out how to finish off the shape once and for all.
And remember that it's multi-millions of dollars involved.
He is literally seen to be unstoppable, being brought back in film after film despite whatever damage he took previously. So I got to wondering, if I were a babysitter on Halloween night in Haddonfield, Illinois, the primary setting of the Halloween films, what could I do to not only survive, but be the one to finally stop Michael Myers' reign of terror once and for all? Now, if you've never seen Halloween or its army of sequels, then you're probably unfamiliar with its convoluted story. And if you have seen the movies, well then you're still probably unfamiliar with its convoluted story since the whole thing gets retconned every time there's a new installment. Basically, Halloween is a Bildungsroman, a coming-of-age story of a young man named Michael Myers, who in 1963 opens the series by killing his older sister Judith. He spends the next 15 years in a mental asylum under the care of the single worst mental health professional of all time.
Yes, you must understand that back in the days, these professionals are literally just horrible individuals.
Dr. Loomis.
Behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Good medical advice there, Doc. On Halloween night in 1978, Michael escapes and goes on a classic road trip adventure. Despite, it's worth pointing out, never learning to drive since, again, he was locked in an insane asylum since the age of 6. Anyway, he does all your normal road trip stuff, stealing your murdered sister's gravestone, robbing hardware stores for Halloween masks, and teaching young teens the benefits of abstinence. And this kind of remains his MO for the rest of time, occasionally showing up always on Halloween night to slowly walk from point A to point B in order to murder some sexually promiscuous teenagers, long-lost members of his family, and the occasional hermit.
That keeps us stargazing and
Hermit, not Kermit. He's not murdering Muppets. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, provides a deep and often detested backstory for this murderous killer, where as a child he was cursed by the Cult of Thorn to murder his entire family as this ritual sacrifice to some ancient gods, a backstory that is immediately erased just one movie later in Halloween Water. Wait, what? Halloween H2O? Yeah, that's what I said. Halloween what? H20? Oh, Halloween 20 years later.
Oh, H2O, water. Fun fact, do you know what's water? Water is dihydrogen monoxide. Yes, correct. Yeah, correct. That's a chemical name for it, for water.
H20. That's stupid. That's a stupid name. And now the new 2018 installment takes it one step further by erasing literally everything but the very first Halloween movie, thereby making the only currently canon films in the franchise to be Halloween and its new sequel, Halloween. So stupid! It's so stupid! So we know his story, or at least as much as we can know about his story, but if we're gonna beat him, we need to know his power set. And let me tell you what a power set it is. He is slow, and he tends to use a knife. When he's presented with something like a gun, he also uses it as just a knife. Top tier killer, ladies and gentlemen. Some people seem to believe that he can teleport, but technically that's not true because when he's arrested at the end of Halloween 5, he needs someone else to intervene and break him out of jail. Other people think that he's a cyborg because he bleeds yellow in Halloween 6, but again, that's also not true because that yellow substance is just a chemical that he'd been injected with a few scenes earlier. So what makes this guy a murderer so threatening that I'm dedicating an episode to him? Well, to put it simply, he's unstoppable. Slap his face on a motivational poster because he is the embodiment of persistence. We've seen him shot and it doesn't work. Again, and again, and again. Jeez, guys, stop trying to shoot him. It clearly doesn't work.
So why not try something different, some other ways of doing this?
He survives multiple stabbings, long falls, he survives burning with minimal damage, beatings from lead pipes, and even Busta Rhymes can't get the job done when he tries to crotch shock Michael to death.
Why not send it to the sun? Ta-da!
There's a high voltage wire right to the groin. Ugh, yikes. So we know that shooting, stabbing, exploding, electrifying, and beating Michael won't kill him, but he is human. We see that he eats dogs in the first Halloween, and we're able to hear him breathing throughout the series. So when it comes down to it, Michael has two things going for him. Super strength, I mean just look at that one-armed pull-up, and a healing factor that is so strong that he's able to get his eyes shot out at the end of Halloween 2, but then have him back to full functioning during the next film.
So it's something like Wolverine, but not X-Men. Why?
So, how would you defeat Michael Myers? My first thought was acid. Just like Cell in Dragon Ball Z, you need to destroy every last particle of a regenerating creature so nothing can grow back. And with acid, it would just keep burning away no matter how much Michael regenerated. However, upon closer inspection in the series, this isn't the case. At the end of The Curse of Michael Myers, we see Tommy Doyle, inject Michael with a mysterious yellow goo. But upon closer inspection, the movie makes it very clear in these few frames that the goo is indeed meant to be corrosive, so acid doesn't seem to be the way to go. Then I thought, well, maybe the most boring way possible, old age. I know it's lame, but curse or no, he is clearly shown growing older and aging, starting the series at age 6 in 1963, and then 15 years later proving himself to be a big strapping adult of age 21. 23? Did no one do the math here? But again, this is a no-go. The term death by old age is actually just a blanket statement for the death brought about by the failure of an organ via old dying cells. But Michael has these super healing cells, so the organs technically would never get old enough to fail.
So if you think about it, right, people don't necessarily die of old age. People die of failing organs. If your organs keep working and working and working and working and working, you don't technically die of old age. Yeah.
And it seems like the movies know this, considering Judith says right before Michael's carted off to prison,
The National Guard will take him to a maximum security facility, where he'll stay till the day he dies.
Never die.
so we need to attack the healing factor itself. A healing factor that, unlike what we see in Logan, shows no real signs of failure. But we also need to remember that, cult or no, Michael is at his core human. He was a kid, he grows up, he's referred to as a human in the movies, he gets knocked unconscious like every other scene, we see him bleed, so we can assume that at some level his body functions via basic human biology, and basic human biology is all that we're gonna need to kill him. You see, all humans have the biologic potential to heal, regrow, and even in some cases regenerate parts of their body. For instance, if your liver gets injured or you lose part of it or you donate part of it, the rest of it will grow back on its own, back to exactly the right size for your body. So what grants us our own, albeit much slower, regenerative ability? Stem cells,
Pow! Bang!
and progenitor cells. You've probably heard of stem cells, the magic cells that start off as a blank slate but can evolve into any type of cell in your body. They're most commonly seen in the growth of babies before they're born, but all of us walking around have our own adult stem cells sitting in our body waiting for their potential to be unlocked. Now, stem cells have their cousins, progenitor cells, which are slightly more specific than stem cells but can still grow up to become several different kinds of cell depending on what kind of progenitor they are. For instance, your endothelial progenitor cells are the ones found under your skin or near your blood vessels. When you get a cut or scrape, those cells are the ones that are thought to mobilize in order to heal that wound.
The more you know. Thank you so much for making this episode very educational and knowledgeable. Thank you so much.
And if that kind of special wound healing ability starts to give you some ideas, well, it should, because that's where we come all the way back to our old pal Michael Myers and how we're gonna finally bump him off for good this Halloween. To do the kind of wound healing we've seen Michael pull off in the movies, his stem and progenitor cells have to be running out of control. Like, sure, we can all heal from some bumps and bruises, but Michael is literally bouncing back from having his eyes shot out. His stem cells are working mega overtime. That makes our job in killing him really tough, because as long as he has those stem and progenitor cells, he can come back from literally any wound that we inflict on him. Theoretically, even something as extreme as chopping him in half wouldn't help, because with the work of his stem cells, he could just regrow the missing half of his body and keep on trucking. No, there's only one way to completely wipe out his healing ability, and that's by getting rid of every single one of those regenerating stem cells. So how the heck do we do it? One word:
Liquid nitrogen.
irradiation. Specifically,
okay.
total
Different.
body irradiation, or TBI. TBI is a real medical procedure, and it's been used for over 40 years to help cure very difficult diseases like leukemia. 40 years, the exact amount of time that Michael Myers has been stalking babysitters in Haddonfield. Coincidence? Yes, absolutely. In leukemia,
It's like, coincidence? Absolutely, yeah, of course, coincidence.
patient produces the wrong kinds of blood cells. Those bad blood cells are created by stem cells deep inside the person's bone marrow, which, in case you didn't know, is actually where all your new blood comes from. To treat leukemia, one option is to get rid of all the stem cells in the patient's bone marrow so that there are no cells left to produce the bad blood. Doctors do this by exposing the patient to radiation, high enough radiation to literally kill off all the stem cells existing in the bone.
So it's something like radiation therapy or targeted radiation therapy.
If it sounds scary, it is. And if you know someone who's going through this, give them tons of support, because it is basically the bravest thing you can do. And yes, that includes facing down a goofy, masked serial killer. Now, once they're without their stem cells, they can't produce any new blood at all, which is why patients receive a bone marrow transplant. In a bone marrow transplant, once the bad bone marrow has been irradiated out, new marrow from a donor is implanted so the patient has a whole new crop of stem cells, thereby ending the leukemia. Now, in our case, we're not trying to cure Michael Myers, we're trying to get him done. But the principle is the same. If we wipe out Michael's stem cells, we wipe out his healing ability, thereby making it possible to kill him without him coming back. But to do that, we're gonna need a lot of radiation. A really lethal dose, which would be much higher than what's used in treatment for even the toughest of cancer.
I can think of one word: sun. Sun.
Basically, we gotta zap him with everything we've got. Now, lethal radiation doses are calculated based on the radiation level to which exposure would kill 50% of people within a week. A lethal dose, then, is technically defined as 1 gray, where gray is the unit for measuring radiation. To put that in perspective, between flying on airplanes, getting the occasional X-ray, and exposing our skin to the UV rays of the sun, a typical person is exposed to 0.0024 gray of radiation per year. Super high doses for bone marrow transplant patients range from 6 to 8 gray at the absolute most. But what we need for Michael is to be so affected by radiation poisoning that he starts experiencing symptoms immediately.
And if he's in the MCU, become the Hulk. The Incredible Hulk!
To get that kind of effect, we need a total body irradiation dose of 30 gray. So we need to crank the dial all the way up and hit him with the total maximum dose. And it is possible, but to do it, we have to be really, really smart. In order to expose Michael to radiation, we're first gonna need to lure him into a hospital. Easy, you simply kite him. Forgive me for using a gaming term, but kiting is the process of getting an enemy's attention and then running away as they chase you, usually while attacking the enemy.
Yeah, I really like it that he mentions gaming terms in a film theory.
Michael Myers is one of the slowest moving killers in cinematic history, so as long as your car's doing like 1 mile per hour, you're gonna be fine. Maybe think about packing some books on tape next to all that ammo. Once we've kited him into the hospital, it's time to lure him into the radiation room. Hospitals in the US are required to build in special radiation shielding in the floors and walls of any rooms that contain a major radiation producing machine, so as long as he's in and you're out, which, let's face it, you should be avoiding sharing a room with that guy in general, you'll avoid irradiating yourself while Michael's busy cooking in his own personal microwave. Which obviously leads to the question, how do you get a hospital to let you, a babysitter, into their radiation room? Well, the answer is simple. Michael Myers' story is known in this universe. There's even a scene where people are watching the first Halloween movie.
The immortal classic, followed by the big giveaway at 9.
It's not just a horror movie over there, it's like a Lifetime original feature, based on a true story of heroism. And in the new Halloween movie, people are actively trying to do a podcast with Michael Myers. His story is out there. Anyway, Laurie Strode at this point has had 40 years to prep for his eventual attack. Plenty of time to get some doctors, or law enforcement, or both on her side. They even know what day he's gonna attack. Spoiler alert, it's always Halloween.
Spoiler alert is always that particular.
So if we manage to keep him in the room at max dose, he should start to show signs of acute radiation poisoning in minutes, including nausea, dizziness, and shock. And this is exactly where we want him, because now it's time to go in and finish the job. That's right, after all this trouble, it's actually not going to be the radiation that kills him. Remember, the whole point of irradiating Michael was to deplete his stem cells, preventing him from healing himself. From there, we use any method available. Shoot out his eyes again, inject him with acid again, chop him with an axe, or for goodness sake, just decapitate the right guy this time, because now he's reeling with radiation poisoning and has no way to heal himself. We can finally rid the world of the terror that is Michael Myers, finishing off the Halloween movies once and for all, or at least until they reboot them in another 10 years. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Hey, if you want more horror theories for this Halloween, click the box to the left to see the true ghost stories behind the Conjuring movies. Or click the box to the right to find out why the Blair Witch was the least of the filmmakers' problems when it came to the Blair Witch Project. And finally, make sure you subscribe for more creepy theories that happen not just on Halloween, but all year round. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go answer the door. There's some trick-or-treaters outside.
Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this video has been very interesting and unique to watch. Quite special, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching this video together with me, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Once again, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have any share of us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you all so much. Once again, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Subscribe to me and my channel. Thank you. Yeah.